Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. How are y'all doing? It's been a while. Been a couple months since I've been on. So this is the last show, official show of I consider it the 2021 season because it's the draft. Um, so I'll do the draft show here, and then you'll see me in August. But I just want to say hello. I hope you're all doing well. All my fans out there, my supporters, my watchers, I love you. You know I appreciate it. And here we go. So, yes, this weekend was the draft in Vegas, baby. Unfortunately, this announcer did not get to go. I was really pissed about it, but what are you going to do, right? I just couldn't go down by myself. I'm 5'1". The first day they had over 100,000 people there. I probably would have never been seen again. So I decided, I shouldn't go. The estimated attendance for the 3 days of the draft was over 600,000 people down there. Crazy. We had some beautiful weather here in Vegas for it, so they couldn't complain about that. The only thing was on Thursday, the first night of the draft. I don't know if you watched it, or if you know, but the Bellagio has a fountain that goes off pretty much every 15 minutes, and it does, to music, and it does different things. Well, because it was so windy, the NFL network guys were sitting pretty much in front of on the side of the fountain on Thursday, and every time it went off, they would get a little wet because it was so windy here. I thought that was pretty funny. They're like, woo, we're getting a little misty here. So it was pretty cool, but it was a good thing. So anyways, I did learn one thing about the draft that I never knew, and I'm sure you people are like, really? Really? And you're our show person? You didn't know this? I didn't. So when a team, like say the first team, makes their pick, once their pick is in, the first thing that team needs to do is call the team that's next in picking, and they have to tell them who they picked first, and then the NFL knows. I didn't know that. I guess I never really thought of how they knew that, how they could make those adjustments if somebody picked their player. But the team calls the next team, they tell them, and then they tell the NFL. So that's a little interesting, a little tidbit for you. I think that polls, of course, on paper, we won't know. The one thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you the facts that I got on these guys, all 11 picks, and that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to really give my opinion on them because I'm a believer. It's a little too early to start dissecting these young men. So the thing is, Poles has done his job, and I think for his first one, considering he didn't have a first-round pick, and he started out with 6 picks, and he ended up with 11, and didn't have to trade a player. So I thought he did pretty good. This is what we got. So we got 4 O-linemen. They're one center, one's a tackle, you know what I mean? 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, 1 punter, and 4 defensive guys. We got a cornerback, 2 safeties, and a defensive end. So he pretty much addressed all of our needs. So right here, now my goal is, in my opinion, is, all right, because so Pole's done his job. Now the job falls to Matt, our head coach, and all of his coaches to do their job. And their job is to bring these kids in and teach them how to play NFL-style football. And if they do their job, and then the third thing is the players have to show up. So if that's the case, we could have something. If we could get at least 2, maybe 3 starters out of these 11, that would be rock and roll. And then if you could get some backups and maybe they'll learn their way into the starting rotation. We won't know. So these are just the facts, people. It's kind of a long show because there was 11 picks. And so let's get started, see what we think. So in the second round, we had no first rounder. Our first pick was number 39. We picked at 39. It was Kyle Gordon, a cornerback from Washington. Kyle Gordon is 22. He appeared in 33 games over 4 seasons with Washington. He recorded 98 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 14 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. He became a starter for the first time last season, and he was named all first team All Pac-12 after a career high of 46 tackles and 9 pass breakups last season. So that's really good. While recording his first 2 interceptions last season. So that's a good thing, right? Yeah, I'm liking that so far. And Gordon, this is what he said. I was a little surprised to be drafted by the Bears, but boy, am I excited. What a positive experience I had when I visited them on the pre-draft visit to Hallis Hall. He goes, he said, I thought they were so cool. And he goes, I could tell this is a good organization. And here's a little tidbit from him. He was a competitive dancer as a kid. And I've heard this before, that he believes that being in dancing has helped him learn skills in football. And I've heard other players say this in the past. Gordon is also the second Pac-12 cornerback the Bears have selected in the second round in the last 3 drafts. In 2020, they selected Utah's Jalen Johnson at number 50, and we all know how well that's worked out for the Bears, so that is a really, really good thing. So that was one of my favorite picks. I was kind of liking that the best. So, sorry, I'm sweating here. It's a little hot here in Vegas. Okay, then our next pick was number 48. He was our second pick of the second round. And I know, you know me, I cannot pronounce names, so I'm just, his first name is Jaquan and Basker. So Basker, he is from Penn State, good school. He's 23. He appeared in 34 games with 21 starts over the last 3 seasons, so he's not been in there a lot, but he registered 152 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 5 interceptions, 19 breakups, and last season, the 6'1", 199-pounder was named first team All Big Ten and second team All-American after playing last year in 12 games, generating 62 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, and 7 breakups. So, I mean, he made some impact. There's no doubt about that, and that's what we want. Okay, he is one of those. He began his college career. His first 2 years were in the junior college, and then he transferred to Pitt to finish his college career. And this is what he said. In this moment, it's really unbelievable. He said during a video call with the Chicago media, it's crazy, but I'm really thankful and humbled that the Chicago Bears drafted me, especially because I started out at a junior college not knowing what would happen next. The Bears are very impressed with his intangibles and leadership, and they really liked what he demonstrated at Penn State. The Bears really like that. He's very mature. The Bears feel that he is capable of playing both deep in coverage and as well as in the box to cover the line of scrimmage. And did I tell you what? I don't think I told you what he was. I just said his name. He's a safety. Sorry, guys. So he's a safety out of Penn State. So that was our second pick. So basically what the Bears are saying is he could play back or he can come in and try to disrupt or even get a sack. You've seen our cornerbacks do that before. So that's a good thing. Okay, then the third round, our next pick was number 71. It was the number 71st pick, and he's a wide receiver. And it's Velus Jones Jr., and he's from Tennessee. Now, my brother gave him a big thumbs up because my brother lives in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and he watches the Vols, and he said he was pretty darn good. So that's a good thing. Jones appeared in 61 games with 21 starts over 6 seasons. The reason he's played so much is he was at USC from 2016 to 2019, and then Tennessee from 2020 to 21. He is 6 foot, 200-pounder. He caught 120 passes for 1,432 yards. He had 11 touchdowns. He averages 24.4 yards with his catches, 2 touchdowns, and he's done some kickoff returns. Here we go. Okay, so his average for kickoff returns is 24.4 yards with 2 touchdowns on 121 kickoff returns. That's good. Maybe they'll be putting him on kickoff returns because we need one. And 15 point yards on 8 punt returns. So he's a wide receiver, kickoff returner, and a punt returner. And that could be one of the real things that Poles liked about him, that he's versatile. So, and we really do need somebody to complement Mr. Mooney, because we know he can't be by himself, right? So I guess he had a breakout season in 2021 when he doubled his career totals with 62 receptions, 108 yards. That's bad. 107 yards, 7 touchdowns. Into addition, he was named SEC Co-Special Players Team of the Year, averaging 27.3 yards with 1 touchdown on 23 kickoff returns and 15 yards on the 18 punts I mentioned earlier. So this guy's got some versatility, and that's exactly what we need. We had some problems with that last year. In the last few years, our returns have not been that good, and I don't remember. Did we score a touchdown last year? I can't even remember on punt returns. But we could use a very good kickoff returner and punt returner. So I think that's something the Bears might be looking at as well. And when he had talked to the media, he was thrilled to be drafted by the Bears. I mean, who wouldn't? And he is really looking forward to working with Justin Fields. He says it's a true blessing with all the history there. And he said within the Bears organization, and he said they had one of the greatest returners in Devin Hester. So this guy could be maybe he'll be our next Devin Hester. You never know. It's a big role, he said, but I've been ready for this all my life. I started playing football at 4, and I've always had strength in my faith, and I'm just starting to excel. I can't wait to get it in Chicago and show my stuff. The thing about him is he is older. He's going to be 25, but what it was that when he first went into USC, he redshirted, so they gave him an extra year, so that was 5 right there, because he came in as a true freshman, and later he took advantage of the COVID issue, which allowed him to play another year. So that's when he went to Tennessee, and as a result, that's why he's 25 years old. So he's actually older than our receiver, Mr. Mooney, who is in his 3rd year in the NFL. But who cares? That means he's an mature young man, so that's what we want. So that's a good thing, right? So then now we're in the last day, like yesterday, of the draft. Because remember, Bears did not draft on Thursday, so they only drafted Friday and Saturday. And with all the I'm going to talk about it. So in the 5th round, the Poles traded their 150th pick to Houston Texans for their 166th pick. And this is so funny. Then he turned around and traded the 166th pick to Cincinnati for their 174th pick. Me and my son were like, oh my God, they're doing it again. And in my opinion, why Poles did this, you're probably like, well, why are they doing that? Because at those picks that they traded away, clearly he had somebody in mind, and by the time those picks came, those players were gone. So then he goes to his second choice, and now he's trying to find, at this point, people that we need, but he's trying to find them the best athlete and what's going to fit into our system. So that's where he's at, and he figured if his players aren't there, then go back more, and he got more draft picks because of it. Which, remember, I said we ended up with 8, and ended up with 11, and we started with 6. Okay, so yesterday on the 168th pick, we picked a offensive tackle, Braxton Jones, and he is from Southern Utah. He is 23. He appeared in 34 games over 5 seasons. Last season, the 6'7", 310-pounder made 11 starts at left tackle and was named first team All Big Sky for the second straight year. Rock on. And he was also selected as first team FCS All-American as a senior. So a lot of these guys, have you noticed, have had some accolades. So that's really a good thing. I'm liking it. I'm thinking, good. They're just not, players that we just picked up. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I'm liking that because that's what we need. We need players with drive, of course, talent, and the go get them. And I'm liking so far what I'm reading here. Okay, then our 174th pick yesterday, Dominic Robertson, and he's from Miami, and he's a defensive end. And Robertson is 23. I can tell it's been a few months since I've done this. This is interesting, he arrived at Miami as a quarterback. Then he switched to a receiver as a freshman, and in 2017 was moved to defensive end as a senior in 2020. So he's pretty new at this position, so it should be interesting. He said I heard him say, I still have a lot to learn. I'm a little raw, but I am totally ready to be coached. So you never know, right? Last season, the 252-pounder registered 28 tackles, 6.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks while playing in 12 games. And he grew up in Canton, Ohio, the site of the Pro Hall of Fame, which someday he hopes to be at. Now, if he hopes to be that, we win, right? So, I don't know. See, all these things I'm reading about these guys, a lot of positives. But again, I'm not going to be dissecting them. I'm going to leave that for all the sportscasters back in Chicago and sports writers who just love to rip these guys apart and find the negative opposed to the positive. So we'll just let them do that. And I'll just tell you what we did over the weekend. Okay, then in the 6th round still, we had 186 pick. We got an old offensive tackle, Zachary Thomas, and he went to San Diego State. He's a tackle/guard. I like that. He is versatile. He is 6'5", 300-pounder. He started at right tackle, left tackle, and right guard during his 6 seasons in college. Now you're wondering why. Here's another gentleman who, when he was a true freshman, he redshirted, which means that gives him an extra year. So that's already 5 years he can go to college. And then he also took advantage of the COVID year. And what that means is nobody played in 2021 really. And so all college athletes were given an extra year of eligibility to come back and play. So that's why a lot of these players have played 5 and 6 years, is because of the COVID. So he is one of them. So, and last season, Thomas was named first team All Mountain West when he started 12 games. He was also a teammate with his brother, Cameron Thomas, who was also drafted, but he was drafted in the 1st round as a defensive end by the Arizona Cardinals. So both him and his brother were drafted this weekend, so kind of cool. There wasn't really a lot more on him at that point, but we'll see what this young man has to do. He might be a little raw, but we'll get him. Okay. Then, still 6th round, our 203 pick was Tristan Aber. You know me, guys. If you watch my show regularly, I butcher every last name. Ebner. He's a running back from Baylor. He appeared in a school record 61 games over 5 seasons, and he was rushing 1,690 yards and 9 touchdowns on 343 carries. He caught 127 passes for 1,515 yards. Not bad. And 11 TDs, averaging 2.5 yards with 3 touchdowns. He also is a kickoff returner and a punt returner. He did 47 kickoff returns with 6.8 yards and 1 touchdown. Then he also did 28 punt returns. So this is what I'm thinking about this guy is the Bears brought him in. Although, if you remember what I just said, he caught 127 passes for 1,515 yards. So he's a good catcher. I mean, we've got running backs. We've got, Montgomery and we got Herbert. But this guy sounds like he could be a nice third down throw in there to catch a pass. And he's a punt returner. So I think that's another reason why the Bears brought him in because we need punt returners. Last season, the 5'11", 215-pounder was named Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Year. So on special teams. And voted first team All Big 12 as a return specialist and all-purpose player. He also set a career rushing high with 148 carries for 799 yards and became the first player in Baylor's history to compile at least 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. Kind of impressive, huh? Yeah, I mean, these guys that polls drafted have some credentials. There's no doubt about it. Of course, all of them do. Anybody who's going to be drafted has got something to, show for themselves. But I'm liking it. You see all the versatilities on all these guys that he's drafted? They can do more than one thing, a lot of them. And that is so what the Bears need. So, all right. So pick 207 in the sixth round still. Doug Kramer, a center out of Illinois. Hey, homeboy. He was a three-time starter at Illinois, and he grew up in the Chicago area, attending Hinsdale Central High School. Not bad. We like home guys, right? Last season, the 6'2", 305-pounder was named second team All Big Ten by the conference coaches. When coaches do give you an award or name you something, that's a good thing. So I like that. I'm really liking all the offensive guys they're getting for the line. So that's a good thing. Okay, now we're in the very last round yesterday, the seventh round. Our pick was 226, and I definitely don't know how to spell this guy's, pronounce his name. So his last name is Carter. His first name is Jatyre. Carter. He's an old lineman, another one. He's 6'5", 275 pounders, and he actually started out, he was a standout basketball player when he was in his high school in Louisiana, and they won the state's championship, and he was a 1A Outstanding Player of the Year as a senior. Nice. Okay, Carter was a 4-year starter at, did I say where he went? I don't think I did. I apologize. He went to, oh my God, I don't have it in here. When? Me bad. Whoop. Okay, so he was a 4-year starter at Southern. Oh, Southern. Is that Southern Illinois? I don't know. Why not? I don't know. He opened 34 games. He started 34. The last season, he started 11 contests and was named second team All Southwestern's Athletic Conference. Carter was the fourth offensive lineman the Bears selected in the draft. And he said, I take pride in being able to play different positions along the offensive line. And he said, so I am open to do whatever the Bears want. As long as I can start, I will be in there and I will play to my ability. So I'm really, of course, this is what they all say, but I'm getting a good vibe. He really got some guys I'm liking. Okay, so now we're at the end of the seventh round, and this is really the end because the last pick is number 262, and so that we're close. So this is the seventh round, and it's a Bear. They pick at 254. Elijah Hicks, a safety, and he's out of Cal. And Hicks appeared in 54 games with 46 starts over 5 seasons at Cal. Another guy who probably redshirted or took advantage of the COVID situation. He registered 213 tackles, 14 for losses, 3 sacks, 5 interceptions, 14 pass breakups, and 6 forced fumbles. Last season, he was named first team All Pac-12 after generating a career high 72 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions, and 4 fumbles. So that was just all last year. And again, I'm liking some of the stuff I'm reading here. Hicks played cornerback during his first 3 years at Cal, but he moved to safety because of the team's before the team's bowl game in 1920 due to a 19. Excuse me. Okay, let's try that again. He played cornerback for the first 3 seasons, and due to injuries to a bowl game in 2019, he went to safety and then remained there full time over his final 2 seasons. And he said, I was very productive, making plays all over the field. It was a natural fit, he said, the change. I was really thankful that the transition happened. See, so he changed positions and he found out he's actually better at safety than he was cornerback. Hicks takes pride in the ability to generate takeaways, which has been a problem for us, especially last year. What do we have? -3? I'm kidding. We didn't have many, though. I mean, that's the thing the Bears used to be really good at, remember? So I would like to see this. And this young man is already, he's a very giving, outwardly. He helps the community. He has a nonprofit organization already in college that helps poverty and he's raised nearly $70,000 working with No Kid Hungry to provide for financial assistance to low-income families during the pandemic and beyond. So I'm liking that. That means this kid has character, and character is always a good thing, right? Because we know that Pringle guy, Barden Pringle, that we signed, that wide receiver, had already been arrested in Florida for driving without a license, driving recklessly, and I think his kid was in the back seat. So who knows if that guy's going to make the team, because Bears don't put up with that shit. They just don't. They like character, and we've known it. If you've been a fan as long as they release the guys who don't have character. All right. And the last pick of the 2022 NFL Draft, pick 255, was Trenton Gill. And he's a punter, and he's from a North Carolina state. He was a regular punter for the last 3 seasons. He averaged 45.8 yards on 173 punts. Wow. In 2019, he ranked 3rd in the FBC with a school record of 47.6 average on 56 yards, or 56 punts. I'm sorry. Last year, the 220-pounder was named first team All-ACC after averaging 45.1 yards on 65 punts. Gill was also a kickoff specialist for 3 years, producing 114 touchbacks on 198 kickoffs. So that's a good thing. I like those stats because we need a punter. We got rid of our punter, as you all know, and I like those stats. What do you guys think? That I like, so I really hope this kid does that in practice. He's going to make the team. So, 11 picks. I think that, again, Poles did a wonderful job. He did address everything that I said a couple months ago that we needed to address. Really. Offense, defensive end, safeties, cornerbacks desperately need because Jalen Johnson can't do it all himself. He got us a wide receiver for Mr. Mooney, whether he turns out to be, I don't know, and then 4 guys on offensive line, which was huge. That was one of our biggest problems. We have to protect Justin Fields and open up the lanes for our running game. Because you know how I preach. If your offense stays on the field, number one, you rest your defense, and the other team offense is not on the field. So that's what we want. And so now we got to see what they're going to produce, right? I personally do not think the Bears are done with free agency. I think they wanted to see what they got in there, and I think they might go out and get another wide receiver. I would not be surprised to see that. Not really sure what wide receivers are left. We're not going to go get Beckham. Odell Beckham, forget it. Because remember, he had the ACL in the Super Bowl, and I wouldn't want him anyways because he's kind of a troublemaker. But I think there's some guys out there. So let's see. And the other thing is, I'm really happy. Right before the draft, I'm sure you guys heard there was a lot of rumors that the Bears might trade Robert Quinn to get more draft picks. I was so happy to hear they did not, because the Bears in the offseason, in the free agency, didn't really sign more than one or two guys. I think there was like two guys maybe that had term contracts were like 3 to 4 years. Everybody else was a 1-year contract. They signed a lot 1-year contracts because they want to see what these guys got. So they went out and got guys that are they got talent. They're just not big names. So those guys could be good for you. That's not a problem. It's a matter of the coaching staff teaching them and then the players doing their job. And Nagy is gone. Thank the Lord for that. And I don't think he was a good teacher. I don't think anybody on his staff was. And I do think Matt and his guys, they sound like teachers. And that's something we need. Are we going to win the Super Bowl in 2022? Pretty sure not. But we can have a winning season and then the following season, rock and roll all the way, we'd be doing it. Justin Fields has no excuses this year. It's his second year. I do know it's under a new coaching regime, but it is his second year, and Nagy's gone. So there's no more excuses from that. So let's see. We've got rookie mini camps coming up, and then we got a couple more mini camps, and then they break up, I think, in the beginning of June for the last time. They have their last camp, and then they don't meet again until August. So a lot of unknowns, but I believe this was a very positive, productive draft. What's his name? If I can't think of the last guy's name, Ryan, whatever his name up, our old GM, he probably would have traded players to get back a number one. I'm sure of it. And he's the one we've lost number one picks for many years. So next year we're going to have a number one, but very good draft. Again, I only gave you their bylines. You can go and read more, but let's all be open-minded here, guys. Give these guys a chance to produce. We might, Matt and his team, coaching staff might surprise us all, and we might have a team. If Justin Fields can really pull it together, and these offensive linemen that we have gotten can really protect him, that is the number one goal. If we could protect Justin Fields, give him some time. He's still kind of a rookie. Then we have a chance because we have a running game. So I'm really pumped, you guys. I really am. But although if you watch me regularly, I love my Bears, and I'm always going to be positive. Although the shows after a game's lost, I'm going to let them have it too. I'm always very honest. So, and the last thing is, I think I'm going to give George McCaskey, and if you're not a regular watcher of mine, there are 3 letters. If you see them on top of here, 1, and then. Okay, 1, 2, 3. You see them on top of my poster there. Those are 3 letters that George McCaskey and I. Those are handwritten letters that George McCaskey has sent me. We do correspond, and I have talked to him on the phone twice. I know, right? So it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna have to I'm gonna write him a letter and congratulate him on it. And so let's see, everyone. I think we're headed in the right direction, although I will tell you, I'm sure Green Bay and Minnesota did good, but in my opinion, from what I saw on Thursday, Detroit really did some good drafting. They improved themselves 100%. I'm telling you, because they got some guys, and we're going to see. They might be a team to reckon with this coming year. So we'll see. All right, guys, I'm done, blah, blah, blah. It's a long show, but there was a lot of details. But so good draft, polls, first time out. I mean, he could have really gone one way or another, but I think he did the best he could with what he had, and he got 11 picks and didn't have to trade any players. Pretty awesome. So I love you guys. Always finish my show with something good. I love you. Oh my God, I forgot to tell you. For my regular viewers, see, I've been on 2 seasons. This August will start my 3rd season. We like to have fun on this show. I do, just to let you know if you're sort of new, I go over all, I do 2 shows a week when the Bears are playing. On a Monday after the game, and on a Friday before the game, or depending on if they play on Sunday or Monday. And, people know about me. I'm in Vegas, baby. Grew up in Illinois, but I've been in Vegas 5 years now. Followed my son out. And on April 15th, I became a grandma for the first time. Rock and roll. My little baby, my little grandson. There is a 3rd generation Bears fan coming out of our family. So yes, another Bears fan has entered the world. He was a big boy too. He came in at 10 pounds, 21 inches. What a sweet heart. I love him so much. As a matter of fact, when I get done doing the show, I'm going to go over and hang out with him a little bit. And he's already got a Bears hat. I bought him one. And he's got some Bears outfits, So he'll be watching with me and my son this fall. So it is so cool. Everything I've heard about being a grandparent, he's only, 2 weeks old, is that and then some. So look forward, I'm going to be talking my grandson. I'm going to be talking stories about him. So I really hope that, I know this was a long, tough show to listen to, but hopefully you'll come back. I know my regulars will, and I miss them all because I welcome comments. I don't want to hear any negativity. I have thrown somebody off this show the beginning of last year because he was rude, and I told him, scram Sam, because we don't do that. And so I look forward to seeing you guys in August for the new 2022 season. And be good to each other. Be kind. Help somebody out if they need it. You never know what kind of a day somebody's having. You never know what's going on with somebody's life. So smile when you see people. We're all in this shit together, right? And we're all Bears fans, because if you're watching me, you are. And I love you guys, and I miss you. I'll see you in August. And as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. See you in August.